I was just trying to leave, but there's so many of these here in LeRoy, New York, so check it out. Welcome zombies, pardon the intimacy in today's video. We're in the bedroom. I'm currently in Ottawa, Kansas, staying in the old city hall. And geez, what's coming? Oh man, zombies, we just gotta get into this and you gotta stay tuned because what's coming, like Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas, middle of nowhere, nothing, right? Wrong. Got some crazy stuff to show you. Lots coming. Stay tuned, zombies. And of course, the hypothesis is that there was several advanced civilizations already on this land that we now call the United States of America. And there are actually many remnants of their architecture and technologies all across the land. And we're looking at little bits of that today in LeRoy, New York, a town in Genesee County, New York. Another small town, small population. Little interesting tidbit right here within the town, the Jello gelatin dessert was invented and manufactured in LeRoy. Personally, I don't think that's something to boast about because you're eating something like that's what a terrible it's like basically swallowing liquid plastic with sugar. It also says it's the home of this guy who was the first breeder to successfully produce a stringless green bean. And then this town also has a 100-inch tall, which I showed you in the intro, but I'll show you more of it, 290-pound replica of the Statue of Liberty. Just interesting stuff already right off the bat, right? And under geography, I found this particularly interesting. The town rests atop the Onondaga Formation, which forms an escarpment that faces and runs northeast-west of the North Village. The limestone rock is highly fossiliferous of Devonian age and extensively quarried. Okay, translation. So this Onondaga Formation, this limestone that they're quarrying and digging up, is an old building that these people made that rock. They built the building and there's all these treasures and whatever inside of it and on it. And these people have already extensively quarried that building to get all the treasures and then also to mine the rock. And then now we do mine the rock, which is just old buildings, mountains, old buildings that people built. Not every mountain, but in lots of cases, yes. And especially when it's like a limestone quarry, a marble quarry, that's very likely an old building or an old city. Where people first made the rock and then they stacked the rock into these amazing, mind-blowing structures that we can't even build nowadays, but we're the most advanced ever, right? Because we got tracking devices that record everything 24/7 that we carry around all the time, and we're soon gonna get AI chipped into our brains. And we've been to the moon but can't go back. So we're so advanced. And now look from the blimp. So we're in northeastern United States right here, taking a look at New York, and LeRoy is in between Buffalo and Rochester. And if you didn't check out my last video, or my Palmyra video, Palmyra is another little town that sits in between Rochester and Buffalo. And And I laid out the picture of what New York actually used to look like, the canals, these cities, the amazing architecture, how they used to be connected. It's very, very impressive. It's very different than the dirt road story that you have in your mind. So I highly recommend that you go watch that video. But this is a look right here at LeRoy, small town. And you see we got water running through it, and this water flows, or is a tributary of, I believe is how they say it, the Genesee River, which I touched on in a previous video when I did Genesee College and all that. 2 days, we want it. 1 day, we want it. Get it to me in 2 hours. Everything is like fast and cheap now. Some people will call that efficient, but like, yeah, to build these types of buildings we're looking at, this rock stuff, there's nothing quick and cheap about that. Efficient, yes, because once you've got them up there, they last forever, as we can see. Our stuff we build, they hardly lasts. You can swing a baseball bat through most of it. To move that type of weight, again, with wood wagon wheels, if the wood carts could support that weight, number one, likely that weight would just crush the wheels and the wagons, the carts. Let's say it doesn't, then very quickly those dirt roads will get dug out by those wheels, and you'll just have the deepest, narrowest dugout. Like that weight, I forget which one it was, but I saw a building recently that was like 13 million bricks.
Exactly, 14 million brick, yeah. That is a lot of brick, isn't it?
And so to move all that on dirt road, you would absolutely, everything would be so dug out. A little bit of rain comes, now everything's mud. How you moving that weight through, like it just, but how they could have done it, of course, paved roads. If you have this much rock, if you have 13 million bricks, you can absolutely throw down a little brick road, construction road, to help you get from the canal to the construction site. But no, all we've been told, all the pictures, just dirt roads. They had bigger animals, many of them are now extinct. They had them, not only did they have them, they were domesticated, like friendly with these animals. That's what, man, like the ad campaigns that have, and everything that's been shoved into our brains about animals and how we're supposed to treat animals and all that. Like, look, those big, amazing animals, mammoths, mastodons, stuff like that, used to exist. And I'm saying those animals were used to build a lot of the stuff that we're looking at. And were domesticated and treated well. Again, not in every case. Like I mentioned before, some of this sure was, in some cases, some stuff was probably used with like borderline slave labor, stuff like that. But no, most of this across the entire, all this land that we're seeing, you have to just be like, it has to just be like a people coming together to get stuff done, working in an economy where people across all levels are prospering type of a situation. They had better relationships with animals. Animals, big ones, amazingly powerful ones, were domesticated and friendly and kind, and they were able to work with them. And when you, like this guy, and so many animals, like if the human treats them well, they love to serve the human, to work with the human, as if that's almost how that relationship is, almost like the two are supposed to work together in that way. And that's not, we're not even close to that right now. Like, most of these animals have been extincted, and we're just continually extincting animals, and we just, constant commercials where we're supposed to eat their flesh, and like, it's just, but back then, a different civilization, more ancient, that was able to move all this rock around, water, canalways, amazing animals, amazing roads. You don't put up these buildings and not have amazing roads to move from one building to the next. And I mentioned Jello, but the village was also an early center for manufacturing patent medicines and household chemicals such as mustarine, a patent mustard plaster compound, and rat rodent poison, and Jello. And this is something I've been learning that I just never would have thought. I don't know, just off the radar completely. But this is a cemetery that's on the National Register in LeRoy, and I just drove by one yesterday I've been to a couple now, but yesterday in Kansas City I drove through one, and wow, it was just like gem after gem after gem after gem. Like these right here, you know, this little ancient structure, probably 20 of these in the cemetery, and like designed circularly. I don't know, mind-blowing. I'll show you guys in later videos. And then also in this cemetery they show this, which yesterday in the Kansas City cemetery, that's not right. It was just outside of Kansas City. I don't remember the exact name of the cemetery, but it also had a chapel like this, which is just an amazing stone structure that they say is just like a memorial or whatever. United States post offices in the 1800s were some of the craziest buildings, honestly. Look at this roof. Look at that rock roof, all colorful and beautiful like that, on top of this ancient building right here. It's a post office. And right here they do tell you it is a brick and stone building. A lot of these they'll show you that picture and be like, oh no, it just has a facade, but no, this is a brick and then stone on top of it. And it says it's unique among post offices in the state as the only small one with a clock tower and limestone facing. 1936 to 1938, 2 years. That's a very impressive brick and limestone and slate rock roof, 2 years. And I thought this was an interesting note. It retains many original finishes from black and white checkerboard terrazzo flooring. Let's take a look at that real fast. You need amazing, again, like this type of flooring, rock flooring, yeah, consists of chips of marble, quartz, granite, glass. You're gonna do that and not have dirt roads, or have dirt roads. You're gonna not have paved roads. You're gonna do all that sort of stuff. All this rock building, all the floor in it is rock as well. But you never took the time to make it a little bit so much easier on yourself to transport that weight to the location on a paved road instead of a dirt road. Too much information as far as the architecture and how it's built and all the different little whatevers for a post office. But it does give you a ton of information about the architecture. All the information you'd want if you were reading about an ancient building somewhere else. So here, look at some old photos of LeRoy. This one's apparently in 1909. You can see an old stone wall right here, some water. There's a pretty cool look at the Main Street Bridge. That's just so impressive and gorgeous right there. Here's the library in LeRoy. Got it all right there, huh? This guy right here, what's this one? A school. They said this one was a school. What a beast. Church with a very impressive tower on it right here. Spire. So here's a look at the fire station in LeRoy from the side, and it's got this, that's a tech tower, like a bell tower up there. But I mean, think about it. Everything, our technologies right now are cell phone towers, right? Like it's towers and stuff sticking up on the tops of buildings. Just like when we look at all the ancient buildings, they've got towers and stuff sticking up on the top of all their buildings. But the story we're told is that it's nothing, but there's no way. The same as our towers now, towers back then, technologies, but better. And like our towers now are just like the steel and cables just thrown up, but they did their stuff much more beautifully and with much more durable materials. Like this main steeple coming out of it right here, I believe that's probably original to it, but like these new things that we've thrown on the outside of it, like that's just ugly and looks like a mess. And look at our power line cables running through it. We can see some of their towers, what they look like, and we can see what their steeples and bell towers and all that look like, and they were beautiful and gorgeous. And we're just throwing our crap right on top of them because they were put out of commission. Yeah, like this one right here with the bowls up there. Who's to say that's not some sort of water feature that's catching something up there, you know? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that, but very impressive. These windows, there's more to these windows as well. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Each one of those blocks, super, super heavy. And you've got, look, like, let's take a second here. Let's look at the outside of the ring of the window. That's all a bunch of different sizes of block, all stacked perfectly together to create an amazing structure. But then you've got a perfect ring of super heavy blocks of rock that perfectly houses a incredibly, like, how do you make that stained glass like that back then and transport it and get it up there inside of perfectly heavy circular rock? And it's still right now, after all this time, looking like this. Amazing. And the weathering on this, like, that just, to say this is 100 or 200 years old is, it's so much older. And then I'll spin the camera here to show you just a few other things going on down the street right here. See some older towers right there. And then you've got this big boy over here. Like, that is so cool to me. That roof is all rock. And then the roofing on the tower is also all rock, slate rock. And then I did kind of just pass over this Memorial Auditorium just because they've stripped so much off of it that it's just so bare bones and honestly a somewhat boring to look at, but an amazing rock structure that's just been completely stripped. And auditoriums, I'm gonna figure this one out at some point. Auditoriums is a whole thing. I don't know what it is, but there's a bunch of auditoriums all over the country. And then also across the way from that amazing roof I was just looking at, you've got this big brick boy, and then another amazing building with a special bell tower on top of it, just disguised in white siding. And to show you the full length of the auditorium here, by the way, it's a very long building right there. I guess I didn't get the picture of it at the best spot. I should have spent a little more time there, because actually this side of it over here is pretty cool. And you can see that center, look how huge that window is in the center right there. And then our tiny little doors that we had to punch out at the bottom of it. It just looks silly. Here's a look at that building that's all white siding with the bell tower up there. I mean, it's a good disguise. It really makes it look like all that white siding makes it pretty unappetizing. I mean, because look at this. Like, when you see that, gosh, the roof, the slate roof. That's so cool. Here's another building real close by. Really interesting tower here in the front of it. And then, like, look how many stories this is and how tall those stories are. Much taller stories. Like this building I'm in right now, these old buildings are just much taller stories. And that, you can see that building is buried way down there too. Like the full height of this building. Honestly, I think like something like this, we could be looking at something more near skyscraper height. Like that buried. And the windows, just the level of everything that's been stripped off of these buildings is just sad, you know, like they've just been pillaged is the truth. They got pillaged. Like this one, I wonder if some of these brick ones, because we know that oftentimes these are all built out of brick and then they facade them with amazing heavy stone. But I wonder if in some cases, has that facade been removed and now this brick has been exposed? Because, like, I mean, if we're quarrying and mining those same types of stones, who's to say someone at some point wasn't going around trying to just peel them off of buildings as best they could, you know? And that building literally sits just right behind this rock church here. And then right across the street, we've got this white siding, and then there's that other rock church with the bowls and the tower. And then across the street, the high school. It's just an incredible corner of ancient architecture right here. And you can see the amazing stone walls that are retaining the canal that are there from a long, long time ago. And actually, the entire LeRoy downtown is a historic district on the National Register. If you wanted to see some nice buried windows, that's a great example right there. And a huge building over here with a massive tower on it, but sided up. And if we look at the bottom of it, oh, it's all rock and buried windows. Surprise. And I believe 1826, it looks like, is the date they give us on this disguised building. And then here's a look down the street from where we're at, back to that church with the rock shale tower on it that I really liked. And just a really cool street. If we look right here, some really interesting facades, I guess we'll call it, on some of these shops. And then I've been wanting to get at least, I mean, I still want more of a look than this, but I've imagined that it's not just like one brick or two bricks, but I imagine that these walls of bricks that they're using to put up these buildings are 5, 6 more bricks thick. And I got a little peek here, and just from what I could see, there's at least 4 right here. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there could very well be double that I can't see. So, I mean, just the thickness, the amount of bricks for all these buildings across all of America, even just one building. But then this stuff's everywhere. And it's not just one layer, it's like 4, 6, 10 bricks deep. And then in lots of cases, they're putting limestone or marble on top of all of the brick. Truly a just gorgeous, gorgeous little place. So now you can see where I'm standing on the other side of the river to give you a little bit of an idea where we're at. So this guy right here, I mean, it's just another ancient triangles, rock, pillars. It matches perfectly. And then this right next to it. And so there's that big yellow one over there, this sitting right in the middle of it, and then this big yellow one on the other side of it. So if you look at it, it actually sits, there's this guy right in the middle, and then symmetrically perfect are these big yellow brick ones like on the outside of it and everything that's buried. So this is all one big structure we're looking at right here. And the date they're gonna give us, like on this, is 1929. Look how new that rock is compared to the rock that the building was actually built with. And also, real fast, noticed the windows straight into the ground. And good, they put some bars over them. Smart, because you don't want soccer balls flying through them. And this entrance, again, like, just not making sense at all. These doors look so small compared to this thing, and this just doesn't. And the white, it doesn't look right. We made a new entrance. And then here's a look at the mini of Statue of Liberty that they got out there, sitting right in front of these buildings we've just been looking at. Very interesting.